Hi everybody, I am so excited to be here today. I wish my lighting was a little bit better, but I keep messing with my lighting setup, so hopefully this will be okay. Maybe I can fix it in post. So hello and welcome to the Well-Appointed Desk. Today we are talking about some new products that we have available in the shop. I have been making rubber stamps with custom illustrations that I have created myself over the last at least 10 years, I think. Oh, look at that, more light. We'll see if this helps. But in that time, the cost to have classic red rubber, wooden block rubber stamps, even wholesale at the quantity that I was ordering, produced in the United States, was exponentially more expensive than would allow to sell at a reasonable price to customers, and also not make it available to other vendors. Like I was never going to be in a position where I could wholesale them. And I am now in a position to introduce our latest product, which are clear photopolymer stamp sets. We have two sizes right now. We have 4x6 sheets. We have two designs available, and then 3x4 sheets, and we have two designs available. Now, if you've been following me for some time, some of these designs may look familiar, but the great advantage here is that on these clear sheets, at the 3x4 size, you're getting at least 6 designs. In the case of this new set, the Java Junkie, you get 9 designs. And in our 4x6 size sheets, again, some of these designs may look familiar. We have our nibs and ink set, which include 5 ink bottles, 5 pen nibs of various designs. And then we've added in additional stamps like a new fave and stamps that say shading, sheening, shimmer, and multichrome, sample, bottle, and cartridge, currently inked, and then text with lines for you to add into your planner, your swatching book, or even on a coloring card that say pen, ink, and date, or brand and color. And the really cool thing, and I'll show you as we go along, is that you can also combine stamps. So, and then we have our Stay Posted, which are all postal themed, letter writing themed stamps. I believe there's 15 or 16 on this sheet, 15 or 16 on this one. I'm not going to sit here and count them again. I've counted them like 10 times today. But they include great things for packages, great things for letters, and again, designs that you may be familiar with, but we've also added new designs or designs that have been discontinued for a while that are making a comeback. So lots and lots of things to choose from. So the next thing is, if you're not familiar with clear stamps, I'm sure you're looking at these and thinking, how the heck do these work? So I'm going to move my coffee out of the way, but I'm going to take a sip first. So how these work is we are also selling this lovely acrylic block that is going to work like the wooden block that a stamp comes on before. I put this behind just so you can kind of see it. It has etched grid lines on it, like smooth finished edges, but these grid lines will make it easy to line up your stamp where you want to put it. So I'm going to move this away so I can see the grid lines a little better. This is my test batch of stamps without the card. I had pulled the card out. The card has instructions and information on the back about how to use the stamps, how to clean them, and also where you purchase them. So all of the stamps come in a protective carrying case so that you can slide this into your like it should fit into, into the back of your notebook if you want, but it'll keep them protected and covered. It just kind of makes them just great all around. I love these sleeves. They make it feel like a real complete set. So we're going to slide that out. And then inside you'll notice that the stamp the stamps have pieces of acetate on the front and the back. So the first thing you want to do is sort of peel the backer off so that you can see the sticky part, the stampy part, and then you'll pick the stamp that you want to use, and I like to use the special delivery, and you just peel it off the front sheet and then apply it to your block like that. And then we can even, because these blocks are big enough, you could, well, I probably have to scoot it over, but you might be able to fit like 2 stamps on one block and just do one impression. But then to put them back, like this one I've already used, put that back, you just peel that off, stick it back on there, and then you kind of have, I never get them on straight, so you just sort of stick them on there. So once you have it on there, you'll get your handy dandy stamps out, or your ink pads, and you can use like a full-size ink pad like this. We sell these in the shop. You can also get them at a local craft store. The ones that we sell are waterproof, permanent, and acid-free, which means that once the ink is dry, you can apply fountain pen ink or watercolor over, and the stamp designs will not move. There are other stamp pads that are available that are pigment-based, which are water-soluble. They make for a little bit easier cleanup. They're less likely to stain your stamps. But obviously, if you want to use them for ink swatching and things like that, then, or on the outside of an envelope that might get wet, you might prefer the waterproof. So you can use a large size stamp pad, or even if your stamp pad is smaller, so I have like these little tiny ones, even if your stamp pad is smaller than your stamp, I can show you how to use those. So if you have a small pad like this, you take your stamp and then you just tap your color onto your stamp like that until you have good coverage. And then when you flip it over, you can see your design and you can see that there's color on there, and then you can just press it onto your paper. So this is the first time I was using it, so I do recommend that as you do these, to test them first on a piece of scrap paper, just to make sure that they're inked up properly and that there's not, that you've got good ink adherence for those first stamps. So let's try that again. So it could be just that I'm using coloring paper and it is a little textured, so I'm not getting as smooth a transfer. I've got a piece of Midori paper right here. We're going to try this just to see. So, and because I can see my lines and everything, yeah, there you go. So you get a much cleaner imprint that way. So it's just because this paper is kind of textured, and it's a bigger stamp. This one is about 1 inch by 1 1/4, or 1/2 inch by like 1 1/4 or 1 1/2. So anyway, so once you do that, and I often just like to clean off a stamp because this is fairly permanent ink, I just find a blank space on a piece of paper and I do this a couple times, and that gets most of the ink off of the actual stamp so that I can use it again later. And then I just peel it off the block and put it on the pad, on the adhesive, the acetate. Words, use words. So if we wanted to do a different design now, I can pull this off. So this is my letter enclosed. So I'm going to squish that one on there. I'm going to use my red pad. And so in this case, because the pad is much bigger, I can just apply it like that. There we go. And because they're clear, you can kind of see where maybe you're not getting ink everywhere. So there we go. Ta-da! I kind of wiggled a little. Let's try that again. But think that's me. You know how it is. Yep. It's hard to stamp cleanly on camera, you know? You do it all day long when no one's looking, and then when you have to do it in front of an audience. So there we go. Haha, I did it. And so you'll notice as I've been stamping, I'm getting a little bit of ink, you know, from my pad on my block. But once I clean this off, I just need to grab a towel and these clear acrylic blocks. So I've kind of tamped off all that ink. Peel this off. And then you can just use, like I just use a rag and it just wipes clean. I didn't have to do anything. There was nothing to it and that ink came right off. So you can make as big a mess as you want and it won't be a big deal. So let's do one more just because we're here. So if I were to want to get these super, super clean, I can use pen stamp cleaner. Or I'm sorry. You can use stamp cleaner, which I carry in the shop, or a little bit of like dish soap and water. That should do the trick too. But because these are the permanent and archival, pretty much once they dry, they do tend to stain the stamps, but they won't, the color won't transfer. So it should be fine. All right. Should we try one of the other sheets? Let's. So once I'm done with these stamps, I can put them back into their sleeve. And I guess my glass can sweat on everything. So, nice thing about stamps is they don't tear. So, and then I just slide these back in my sleeve. And they slide in better if you have the piece of board in here that comes with. And if you have any trouble getting them into the sleeve, stick this sheet in front, because sometimes it's just sort of like a little bit of static cling kind of thing. So besides, the color looks pretty. So there you go. So that's what they look like after they've been used a couple of times. So, and in my world, there's cat hair everywhere. So, all right, let's get another sheet. Let's get nib stamps. So I'm going to pull the brand and color off. And stick that down here. But then I want to stick an ink bottle up here, because if I were to stamp this in my ink journal per se, and we'll use black because that seems to make sense. So we're gonna do a little test stamp. And unlike like red rubber stamps, you really don't have to push that hard, and that's part of the problem. Is I'm so used to using the old stamps that I tend to push too hard. These really transfer really nicely with just a very light touch. So like, look at how pretty that is. So if we were then going to like use this in my notebook, so I mean, like, look at how clean that stamps. So anyway, so we'll give that a minute to dry. Just kind of clean that off. case you're curious, I am using a coloring folio as my background. It is our largest coloring paper option available. It's fun to play with ink on it. So, all right, so then we'll stick these back in here. You just peel them off and stick them back on the sheet. Oops. Stick this little bottle in here. And now, the best part. So then, once your ink has dried, you can grab your bottle, your favorite bottle of ink, whatever you're swatching. It's pretty close in shape to that bottle. And then you can color in your ink bottle for your swatches. Ta-da! So, and there's lots of different combinations that can be done with the pen and ink sets, because you can add the shading and sheening shimmer or multi-chrome next to your bottle, or, well, let me just show you. So, say you have a sample vial. So, can you see this? Okay. You put your sample vial on there. And then you can put the shading, shimmer, descriptors. And maybe this time you're actually filling your pen. So you can put all of these on at once and just do one ink. It does help if I actually line these up straight, so it's not all hurdy-gurdy. So it even gives me grid lines and I still get them on crooked. Okay, there we go. So then we can just ink that up. Ta-da! So you can quickly make your personal sort of descriptor for what you have. So let's pretend this is a sample and not a giant bottle of Color Verse, which is lid's on so tight I can't get it off. Oh, there we go. So color in my little vial so I know what color it is. And then I believe this is definitely, wipe my dip pen off. So definitely say this is a sheening ink. And this is In this case, it's just a dip pen, but maybe we actually filled our pen. And then today's date. So imagine that in your planner or your journal or your ink swatching book. You've got it all there in description. You know that it was a sample. It's a sheening ink, which pen you used with it, maybe what date you inked your pen. And it was all just from picking out different stamps. So that's how you use clear photopolymer stamps. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm super excited. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I think you can do play with some cool combinations like that. You could use some of the fantasy nibs from the Unfamiliar set, or the Edgar or Inky Raven with these as well. So you can put that with your pen, ink, and date. So I think there's a lot of playing around. The coffee ones, you can put your coffee cup and the Death Before Decaf together. So lots of really fun options. I think you guys are really gonna enjoy these. I'm so excited to be able to finally have these out and released. The prices are super reasonable. The large sheets, did I say this already? The large 4x6 sets are $20. The small sets are $10. And then the blocks are listing for $6 right now. So yeah, you only need one block. You can use it over and over again. And yeah, I hope you guys like these. I hope you're as excited about them as I am. It's been all I can do not to just like stamp on everything and tell everybody that we have these. So yeah, so I hope you like them. I will talk to you guys all soon. Thanks a lot.